Right, folks, I think we've hit the top of the hour. So once again, just a fantastic morning. Welcome to all of you to Wisdom's Chats. We're all sitting here with bated breath for the next episodes. Mpho is get up and ready to shock us some more with wonderful tales of her life, I'm sure. But let's quickly pop over to Lee just to get the session going, and then we'll take it from there.
Well, I don't have more to say other than welcome. I think everybody here was here yesterday to hear the first part of Mpho's story. I love the fact that it's like this anticipation of what lies ahead. We're really looking forward to hearing the rest of your story, Mpho, and thank you so much again for sharing with us. And we look forward to hearing more of what you share. So over to you.
Great, thanks, folks. If you wouldn't mind just muting your mics to kick off with, as usual, and then Mpho can get going. And yeah.
All right, so I wasn't really far from the end of the story yesterday, to be honest. But I had a chuckle when I was reading all the comments afterwards, and I started feeling like I was a crazy person, perhaps. But so the journey around my career, I think it's a long one, but I just want to summarize it by a significant chapter that has recently happened in the past 4 years. I have a great friend and a great mentor, Corette Half, who advised me a couple of years ago, and she said, you know, Mpho, your work is so great, and I know you're not getting the acknowledgement you deserve here, but I want you to introduce you to an organization in the United States that is specifically for qualitative researchers, and it's open to researchers from all over the world. And every year they have a global outreach scholarship that they award to one researcher around the world to join this prestigious community. And I think you've got what it takes. So in 2016, I then decided to then apply for this global outreach scholarship. And I went through the rounds. It's quite grueling. You can imagine the Americans and their processes, panels after panels and motivations and presentations. But it was really about presenting the case around the work that you do, the methodologies that you use, and the results that you get, and how that is transforming the industry. So in 2016, when I entered, I was focusing on the work that I do in corporate South Africa, and the work that I do specifically in township communities and rural communities. And I made it to, I was the runner-up. So I was number 2. I lost to Brazil. And I was quite devastated because, you know, I'd put in so much effort, and with my personality, even that accomplishment was not enough. You know, it has to be number 1, all or nothing. And Corette called me after that when the panel then came and told me the news that, you know, you're the runner-up, Brazil has taken the prize, and well done, please do try again. You know, that was really well done. But that wasn't enough for me. But Corette gave me a call and she said to me, I think you need to try. I think you need to rethink your story about what you want to tell the United States, because at the moment, the story that you're telling is no different to the story that Brazil or India, other third world markets are telling. So just try and think about what is unique about the African situation. So 2017, then I decided to reapply and to tell the SME story, to talk about all the work that I've done and everything that I created in terms of content and educational material that I developed around market research, specifically for township communities and rural communities. And I won. And it wasn't even, you know, they said that was so unique. in all the years, they'd never heard anything like it, and this is what they're looking for. So 2018, I was the Global Outreach Scholarship winner for QRCA, and I was invited to Arizona to come and to meet this massive community. I think there must have been about 1,000 people at the conference, and there I was, presented as the Global Outreach Scholarship winner. And I think that for me transformed the way I see myself as a researcher, but it also transformed the way I see what I could contribute to the industry. And I'd never had an acknowledgement like that before. And post that, I then started to, enter more competitions and to share more. It's a quite highly competitive environment. It's very American, QRCA. And this year, so what you're seeing on your screen now was the annual conference that happened in Austin. And again, we all invited all the members of QRCA around the world. I invited to pitch papers so that they can present at this conference, and my paper was selected again. And in January, I was in Austin and I presented, the video is on YouTube of my presentation that I did in Austin in January. And it was incredibly amazing. And now I'm addicted. And before the lockdown, I had made plans to go and speak in AQR in the UK and in Singapore later on in the year, but that won't be happening anymore. So I'm going to conclude the story of my career. And the last slide is the best part of my life. So this is about my family. So I've got on the right-hand side is my favorite wedding picture with me and my husband. I mean, I cannot get enough of that photo. It captures everything that we are. Him and I, the love for our Ndebele culture, his chin over my head, always like towering over me, sheltering me, protecting me. I love that picture so much. It's just really, it takes my breath away every single time. And on the left-hand side, this is, it was Ayanda's first birthday party. At my mom's house. People always ask, you always talking about your grand, where's your mom? My mom's around. She's my best friend. And with my daughter as well. That's my family. But I want to just conclude my story with the most grueling part of my journey. I think even when, as a professional speaker, I always talk about the days of the drug, sex, and alcohol. But when I met Math, I had met the right guy and everything was fantastic. But we went through years and years and years of struggle, unable to have children. And when you are in a position to not conceive, a couple of things happen to you and how people see you. So I think my pet peeve was the pity. And the inability to conceive creates uncomfortable dynamics amongst friends who are able to. Everybody always tiptoeing around you, feeling sorry for you, talking behind your back, wondering if they should share or not share with you. I think that part of my life was probably so. Anyway, at age 37, I decided to have IVF, and first time I was blessed with my daughter, Zuri, and it was really the happiest moment of my life. And this was really after years and years and years of trying. And Steve asked me on a private message when he was talking about his wife, his concerns about his wife. And I told him that Ayanda chose me to be his mother, and so I couldn't terminate this pregnancy. So at 37, I did IVF, and by 38, then I had Zuri, and we had made a decision that we would try again immediately after, so we could keep the momentum going. And when we then tried after Zuri was around 1, it wasn't successful. And I remember Dr. Kasim saying to us, look, I think sometimes you need to kind of stop and smell the roses and appreciate what you have. So, you know, you guys go home, enjoy this beautiful girl that you have, and live your lives. Maybe you'll try again a couple of years later down the line, or whatever, but just be in the moment and stop trying. And it took me about a year to accept that, because I really wanted to have another child. And I think because I was 41 when he came, I'd completely disconnected from it. I'd accepted my fate, and I kind of said, I'm grateful, Lord, I've got this child. And boom, Ayanda came. And you know, the thing about falling pregnant is that everybody knows that you're having sex. Like, you can't hide it, you know. It's the first thing that people think about, like, oh, gross, she's still doing it. So Ayanda came, and yeah, then they told me the story that, you know, he would have this condition, and I remember that process was unpleasant, because there was this push towards, you've got until 23 weeks to terminate. You've got until 23 weeks to terminate. And I couldn't understand what they didn't understand, that, you know, this is not even an option. I'm not doing this thing. This is my child, and I'm keeping him. And it's the best decision I've ever made. He's beautiful. He's amazing. I think when he was 2 days old or whatever, Nozipho came in the middle of the night to see me in hospital, and she held him and said, you know, this baby's perfect, he's beautiful. And thank you, Nozipho, for always being there and being godmother to my children and all of those things. But yeah, so and that's my tale. And so what did I learn from all of this? Well, I think the most important lesson that I learned from my journey is that cheap wine really gives you a headache, and it's not nice. And that's my story.
Oh, thanks, Mpho. And I think you saved the most powerful bit for last. So thank you so much for that. I think really brave to share that with us, and really moving as well. So really appreciate that. So thank you. Okay, folks. So sure, I think she's given us a massive amount of information in the 30 minutes of yesterday and the few minutes of today, and an insight into an amazing life. So yeah, let's just go through the group and get some comments and feedback from everybody. So maybe we can start with Cecile. Cecile, are you with us?
Yeah. Okay, I'm here. Sorry, I'm here. For a fantastic story. When we lived at Michaelhouse, I knew a lot of girls from Epworth, but wow, I didn't know what was happening behind the scenes at times. It was all just squash girls, but absolutely fascinating story. Now I've virtually also got an insight on how the other half lives. You said you had an insight on how white people party it up or whatever. I never even had an idea that certain black people party it up like that. Now I understand when they talk about party it up, what they actually mean. Fantastic that you turned your life around and became a business person as well, because often people just see you as one-dimensional. When you are a party person, they don't think that you have a brain and that you can accomplish things, and it's great, especially in that you achieved in the corporate sector as well as in the SME sector, because sometimes people get compartmentalized and you think, okay, she can't be in corporate sector, or no, you are too flippant for that. But you proved that one can do all of it. You can be a fun-loving soul and academic and a serious person whenever it needs to be. Fantastic.
Thank you.
Great, thanks, Cecile. Herman, let's come across to you.
Well, I have a habit of doing quite a bit of writing, as you can see in this book. I write a couple of pages reflecting on my day. And yesterday I didn't even wait for evening to do a reflection. I reflected on the talk Mpho gave. And I really liked your story. And what stood out for me was that your craziness in many aspects and the impact your grandmother had on you gave you self-confidence at a very young age. The way you question things, that's something I could strongly relate to, because that's what I've been doing for many years in my life. Be that as it may, I really liked your passion, your craziness, your being unconventional, and daring to ask questions where others would shut up. And for that, I admire you. Thank you.
Thank you, Herman.
Great, thanks, Herman. I think let's pop across to Godmother Nozipho. So love to hear her side of Mpho's story.
Beautiful story, Mpho. I think what you probably leave out of there is the beautiful heart that accompanies you as a person. I think Mpho is probably one of the most open-hearted people I know. Like the love that oozes out of her heart. Like I don't know anything that she's ever been to and she doesn't say, friend, come check this out. Like, you know, I think life rewards you because you're very open and you're a giving person. Really a lovely friend to have. I love you. Thanks for the story.
Great, thanks, Nozipho. Ian Sherry, let's go to you.
I don't know what to say. I've been bowled over by this. I, like Herman yesterday, I was actually in tears, and this morning again in Mpho. I mean, you were in tears, but I've also been in tears. It was just, it's incredible. And there's the thoughts you provoked in my mind and the feelings in my heart and the zing in my soul. It's really, I'm really grateful. You've enriched my life hugely with what you said. I just, you know, I sort of felt, wow, what an incredible life and what a wonderful talent to be able to speak it like you did, so from the heart, with gentleness, with kindness, with not a touch of arrogance, with humility, you're just lovely. You're lovely. I wish I could say more, but I'm really emotional about the whole thing. So thank you so much, dear. I'd love to talk to you more about all sorts of other things in there, but I loved it. And I just, maybe there is one thing. I think the most important moment that I picked was when your granny said, "I'm proud of you." And, you know, you had been out there, you'd discovered Mpho, you'd got your own measuring stick, you'd got your own story, you wanted to do this. And this was, the rebellion was part of that whole thing. This is at Ebworth. And you'd found Mpho and you thought this person was going to come and push you down. But she didn't. She said, "I'm proud of you." And I guess that whatever situation you've got into that hasn't gone well, you've always had at the back of your mind that Granny's proud of me. Whatever I do, she believes in me. And I love the way that I think I'm just guessing that has been a huge important factor in your life. And I think so. And I wondered, you know, it's lovely for you. And then I just wondered on the other side, how many people grow up without having that blessing of anyone being ever proud of them. And I every time I see our young people behaving badly and people at the under the spectrum, you know, drug addicts, alcoholics, poor people, I think, poor guys, no one was ever proud of them. And And I wondered whether life wasn't about that journey in which you tried to make other people proud of you. But yeah, I'm proud I've heard your story, and I think it's wonderful. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Great, thanks, Ian. Guy, your thoughts?
I only came in today, but I like the traditional wedding story. I've been to some of those, and they are brilliant. Yes, in the heat of the day, fantastic. I think the best is still to come for you. So yeah, so enjoy the moment, and the best is still to come. So keep on going. Thank you.
Right, thanks, Guy. Stella, let's go across to you.
Morning, everybody, and a special morning to Mpho. Wow, what a story. I don't know where to begin. I made notes yesterday, but I think the first thing that I want to say is that you are a great storyteller. You had all of us captivated from the beginning to the end. Yesterday, I didn't want to go to the chat room because I was just so focused on what you were saying. And so today you brought tears to my eyes, and I admire you so much for what you've done and how brave you are, how honest you are. The thing that touched me the most, or there was a few things yesterday with your grandmother, what she said to you. And today with that photo, I can see why it's your favorite photo. It just captivates the relationship that you have. And you know what? I felt so happy for you to have that, because there's not many people that experience that kind of love in their lives. So keep on treasuring that. And then when you spoke about, when you could not conceive, it just touched my heart, because especially nowadays, 20, 30 years ago, people didn't really have problems conceiving. I think I don't know why. Maybe environment, a lot of other factors, but you hear so much of people going through that, and I feel for you. But at the end, you are such a brave woman, and you got through all your hurdles and obstacles that was in your way, and you stayed true to yourself, and that is amazing. So I agree with Guy. There's still, the world is your oyster. You're still going to do amazing things. And thank you for sharing your story. I appreciate it. Sorry I took so long, but I had to.
Not a problem at all, Stella. Yeah, and those of you who perhaps didn't miss part one of this epic story can always catch it up on our YouTube channel. So if you don't have our YouTube channel details, just pop me a note and I'll get it through to you. I really encourage you to watch it. It's an amazing story. Sally, let's come across to you.
Mpho, wow. Wow. I said yesterday, I was just it's capturing. What really stood out for me is how contrasted, if I can use that word, if I look at me, how I grew up, and in I'm going to say a white family, as opposed to you growing up in your family. It's amazing. And personally, I have blocked a lot of things out of my childhood. I think it's probably because I didn't have the best childhood, and I envy. Maybe is envy the right word? It's so great to me that you can actually recall, and that you remember, and you got so much passion, and you got such vivid memories, and that stands out for me. That is just it's awesome. It's just so amazing. You're such an inspiration. You just wow. If I think back to the discussion that we've had over the past few days about beliefs versus values. I think I am a lot of, you're definitely a go-getter, and I think it took me longer to sort of grow into myself because of the values and the beliefs that have been instilled, you know, into me by my parents. And that's why I said to Steve, you know what, I wish that somebody had actually told my parents about the stuff that we're talking about now, because then I probably would have grown up differently. Mpho, you're such an inspiration. I would, you know what, I need to get your story out to, I'm very involved in charity work with young girls, and it's just awesome. I would love to have a cup of coffee with you. Can we organize that? Thank you.
A Zoom cup of coffee.
Yes, a virtual coffee.
Virtual coffee, virtually coffee.
Yeah.
All right, let's go across to Jennifer. Jennifer, your mic is muted.
Good morning, everyone. Yeah, I've just never heard storytelling like it. The way that your voice comes over and it just how you tell it, and so all the emotions from you swap into me, and I can just really feel the story coming alive. But the other thing I really noticed was I just felt that spirit that's inside you. It's just amazing what is in you, your zest, your passion for life, what's coming through, and that you are really you. You're acting who you are. It's like the truth is coming through you, what you feel, the warmth within you. It is you. I don't feel making anything up. I know you shouldn't say that, but sometimes you listen to people with a story, but you're just so authentic, and just thank you for sharing it with us. Thank you.
Great, thanks, Jennifer. Mpulela, let's come across to you.
Hi, good morning to everyone. I guess it took wisdom chat for me to know half of the story of Mpho. I know other halves, there's halves I didn't know of. So should I say thank you to you guys or something like that? Yeah. Look, it's an amazing story. I have to also agree with Nosi for that. Mpho will almost pull you to everything that she believes will help you to go forward in life, and that's a great thing about her. And I think that character is what was shaped in the difficult times, because I truly believe that it's the difficult times that gives us the character and the values that we keep. The good times are great, they're nice, but I don't think we change much or grow much during those times because life is just flowing easily and nicely. But in difficult times, we have to dig deep. We have to find out how we survive and how we do things. And I think that's where character is built. And for me, it's made me understand Mpho better as to why she has certain character traits. It was those times where she had to dig deep because it was very, very difficult. Let me just say, you've gone through it. You are where you are, and I think we can be joyful for that, because now we're listening to your story, we're learning, we're growing, we're realizing that we can still move forward in spite of. So thank you very much for sharing.
Great, thanks, Mpulela, and some great insights there as well. Ian Johnson.
Yeah, I mean, picking up on Ian Sherry, I'm also very emotional. I mean, I'm not normally a loss for words, but I think listening to Mpho, you know, we all go through our life and our stages of life where we say, oh, woe me, I'm having such a hard time and things aren't right. So I have this challenge, I have these bumps in the road. And when you listen to your story, they really pale into insignificance. You know, I mean, I don't know that I would have the courage to get through half of what you have. So kudos to you, just an amazing person. And yeah, it was very emotional. And I think you're just an amazing person, absolutely fantastic. And I loved hearing it.
Great, thanks, Ian. Kevin, let's pop across to you.
Yeah, I'm morning all. So I'm over in the UK. I've only been jumping on these calls for less than a week now, so I'm still getting used to it. But wow, what an amazing story! To come, I was quite tough to be able to come on these last 2 days to hear that story. Certainly led a full life. You mentioned about coming to the UK, so if you do that, make sure we know you're coming, please. That's yeah, well done.
Right, thanks, Kevin. Luther, let's come across to you.
Let me just put on the video so you can see who's speaking to you. Thank you for sharing your life. One thing stood out, your rich journey, but most important, who you have become. Living in the present and being humble. It takes a brave person to be humble and not, especially all the rich life they've done. I've learned 3 things from you, or acknowledged 3 things. One, being an entrepreneur and entrepreneurial journey for the past 15 years, we all think the journey is a straight line. You just showed us it's definitely not a straight line. You go sometimes back, you go sideways, you go in all directions. But as long as you move forward towards the goals you have in mind. Brilliant doing that. Secondly, now I grew up with a mindset of you join corporate employment, you learn the game, you climb the corporate ladder, and you retire rich. I wish I could find the guys that told me that. I don't want to be rude, what story it is, That's the worst lot of nonsense ever to have. I had my first business when I was 10 years old, having a kind of a tray selling goods in movies so I can get the movies for free, and I was making an income of R1 a week. I couldn't believe I was making that much money. But although being an entrepreneur, I never thought that was occupation. You only become an entrepreneur if you can't get a job. That was my understanding. Fortunately, I've wised up since. The last quote is, I was quite shocked when I heard an international entrepreneur saying, the new trend worldwide is everybody will have at least 5 changes in careers, not jobs, careers. And I thought that is virtually impossible. Now, coming from a mindset that you start one and you carry on till you retire. And I've seen it in practice. I just made a quick calculation while I was listening to the others. I'm busy with my 5th one. So I think I can still break the record or the average moving forward. Thank you for sharing, and thank you for taking me back and being thankful for what I have. And I can see and hear you are also thankful. That makes you the person you are. Thank you.
Great, thanks, Luther. Solomon, let's come across to you.
Whoa, wow. That's all I can say. I think a couple of things. One, I love your grandmother. I love your grandmother. She is one of those people that actually has really shaped and really prepared a base of who you are, where you are gonna be. So it's amazing. And I also wanted to just encourage you a lot that there's so much deposits that are swelling in your life, and so many young women that needs exhortation, just being championed. Your grandmother deposited so much in your life, and now you being yourself going forward, you've got an ability now to be able to really give away these deposits. Yeah, you're one of the people that we need right now to continue to help and help people to really find themselves, find definition and really do well in their lives and leave an amazing legacy we as a team right now, I think we're learning a lot from, you know, how you fight and how you've persevered. And somebody talked about passion. That's one of the things that really, I know it has impacted me with your story. Thank you so much. We appreciate you lots. Thanks.
Great, thanks, Solomon. Pierre, let's go across to you.
Yeah, Mpho, I just think it's you know, through your pure ignorance, doors just opened for you, and people saw what is in you that you didn't realize. You know, and through that, your journey started. And you know, I just feel that through your journey, you will discover you will discover and influence others just like you. I just feel that you know, it's like you're not conformed to any space. You make it happen with confidence and your genuineness, and that stood out. It's, you know, people see that what you have, and in that it's just like a grooming, you know. So, and I feel that people will set on, you know, onto your path that you just that encourage you, that grew you, that groomed you. And I feel that you need to do it with others, because so they can come to their place where you are.
Great, thanks, Pierre. Jesper, let's pop across to you.
Thank Mpho for the story. Because I think generational and your grandmother features so strong in your story, and I believe that baton has now been passed on to you, and you're now almost becoming that grandmother figure, although you're still young. But I was struck one day by just the thought, how will it change your perspective on life if you realize that you are not judged on achievement in terms of what you achieve in your own life, but what the generation of your achieve in theirs. And your grandmother, although she's not around, you're the result, and probably there are many other Mphos that can refer back to the influence that she had in her. But I think your story is now blazing a trail for the new generation of people from a new, fresh framework. So I'm definitely going to follow up with you and talk more. But then I was also just reminded of another saying that says, the bend in the road is not the end of the road unless you fail to make the turn. And I think your ability to keep on adjusting to what life throws at you is what is shaping you as a person, but also through you helping a lot of other people. So thank you.
Great, thanks, Jesper. Trevor.
Right, I mean, I'm blown away, so I've got to try and keep this short. Mpho, you just know how impressed I am, and whatever anyone has said, I multiply that 20x. How impressed I am with your story. But what I also recognize are a couple of things. You're only at half time. So a couple of us are going to tell you that the next part of your journey is just going to be phenomenal. And as I think about that, I know in all the storytelling that has been told, a couple of the people that I know, their stories have only scratched into about 3 seconds of their time on this planet. So yours was 2 days, so yours is about 6 seconds, because there's so much in your story that you've left out. I know that, because that's generally what we find. The other thing that I really want to get to is we're all on such different journeys. And as impressed as people are with your story, how impressed were you with everyone else's story before you actually came onto this little platform? And we haven't finished yet, and we haven't dug into anyone yet. And there's only about 17 to 19 of us on this little platform. This country is made up of what, 54 million odd people, each of them with their own unique stories. And look what's happening with us just sharing these stories right now. There's something happening here in this little platform that is so exciting. And the collective of the stories is just exponential. We got to bottle this, bottled lightning. Love you, Mpho. And Herman too. No, where's he? Yeah, he's gone.
He ran away. He knew that was coming.
Oh, okay.
All right, Leah, do you want to just wrap up quickly? We seem to manage to time just vaporizes with Mpho, so we just wrap up quickly for today.
So Mpho, I mean, what do I say? It's a rich tapestry. That's how I see it. Is this interweaving of so many different threads, different colors, and it might look messy in some places, but there are other places where it's just all come together. And and I love the fact that it's an unfinished tapestry. You know, there's all these threads that's still there, that still have come from the past and will continue to be woven into a magnificent future. That's also not going to be perfect and will also be messy in places, but it continues to be beautiful. And that's, I think, your beauty is what shines through in every conceivable way. Where to from here? That's my question. There's a number of themes that have come through from the story that I've picked up, and there were many. The generational aspect is one theme. The drive for success, and the you know, we using this word pivot, and Jasper picked it up. This, you know, turning when the road isn't, when there's a bend in the road. I think that seems to be another theme. And then there's a third theme that I'm tempted to pick up because it's completely different to where we've ended today. So it'll take us on a completely different track. But Jasper again raised it when we spoke about values. And that is, what is our relationship to money? That was something that came up quite often yesterday in your story, is, you know, this coming from money, losing money, understanding the value of money, understanding how to work with money, and that money has this, we have this very interesting relationship with this thing with money. And it's even difficult to say the word, interestingly enough. We talk about sex, drugs, rock and roll, but money, ooh, that's a tough one, you know. So I think, so as I'm talking, I don't know if it's okay with you. As I say, it'll take us into a different track a little bit, but I certainly think it picks up a little bit on what Mpho's story was about. And so what are your, who was it, Susan, I can't remember her name. She talks about, what is your first money memory? And so I think that also comes back to our story around money and our relationship with money, and what is the value that we put in money, and so on. So we'll pick up that theme tomorrow. I know it's Friday, and we may, and then we'll see how we go after the weekend. So enjoy your day, everyone. And thank you again, Mpho.
Great. Thanks, everyone. See you tomorrow.